As a BCBA, your dashboard is your clinical and oversight view, your calendar, session notes that need attention, your tasks, and depending on your permissions, incomplete documentation across your team. From here, you build programs, write plans of care, supervise your RBTs, and keep documentation moving. Let's start where the clinical work begins, the library. The library is your master catalog of goals, where you define a program before it goes into any client's book. First, categories. Click the Categories button, give it a name, and then save. Categories are just folders that keep the library and your in-session view organized. To write a goal, we'll just walk down the screen. Title it, add a category if you want, pick your data collection method. All the standard methods are here. Set charting per entry, per session, or per day. Choose your prompt level from the standard options or type your own to build any custom hierarchy. The description is where the clinical thinking goes. Tell your staff the setting, the teaching instruction, the materials, everything they need to run it. This is exactly what they see in the session. The long-term goal box shows up here, but we'll cover long-term goals in a minute. After that, your mastery criteria, minimum to graph, your percent across a number of sessions, think 80% across 5, whether it's acquisition or reduction, and your baseline sessions. The last option is auto phase change, toggled on or off per goal. For task analysis, if you pick task analysis, you title and categorize the same way, then build your steps. Add as many as you want, reorder or remove them anytime. You choose forward chaining, backward chaining, or total task. Build your prompt hierarchy, and set the same mastery criteria. For duration goal, you pick average or total. Interval, for an interval goal, you'll set the interval length and you describe in the description whether it's partial interval, whole interval, or momentary time sampling. For a long-term goal, here's the key thing. The targets have to already exist in the library or the program book before you can add them to the long-term goal. The long-term goal just opens a selector of goals that already exist. You can't add what isn't there yet. So build your targets first, then the long-term goal pulls them in. One platform note, a target can only be used once. So if you need no's in more than one goal, name it for their function, like tact, nose, or receptive ID, nose. The program book is the working clinical record for a client. A goal you write here saves back to the library only when you click Add to the Library. It's not automatic, and that's on purpose, so you don't end up with a messy library. Building a long-term goal works the same backwards way. Build the specs in the library first, get your targets in, then assemble. Onto the graph. Open a goals graph, and here's what you've got. The phase change button to drop a phase change line, full screen button, an edit option right on the graph, and clone, which is great for standing up near identical targets. Think apple, banana, peach, pear, things like that. There's the comment section, a pin, which holds that goal to the top of the session, and the manual data add button, where you can add data points, including all actual responses, and add more than one data point if necessary. Below the graph, the trend line is drawn for you automatically along with the active average, the date added, and the date met. Under that are the accountability pieces. Timestamp data points showing who collected what and when. This is how you can catch mass trialing versus interspersing across the session, and it gives you concrete data to coach an RBT with instead of a hunch. Okay, the plan of care is your clinical backbone. Think of it as your behavior intervention plan. And one of the important things to note, the POC is pulled entirely away from any CPT code. So you'll go into the client's profile, click plan of care, and in the top right corner, you'll click new POC. The idea behind pulling it away from a CPT code is that you can now correlate the sessions you've run, your 97151s, your 97152s, your H0032s, and so on. Then hit AI generate to pull that into the POC. You can also use the autofill last, which pulls forward your last POC, and then hit AI generate with those correlated sessions, and it'll update based on all of that context. The POC is fully customizable through forms. Your organization likely already has a template built, and if you're the owner, you build your own in the form builder. Both clinician and guardian signatures can carry on the POC. Here's how each goal type is scored. Percent independent, everything counts as an error unless you select the plus. Percent correct, you select the prompt level, then mark the plus or minus. Two separate selections based on which prompts you want to count as correct. Frequency, tap once each time it occurs. Duration, start the timer, stop it when you're done. Interval, start the timer, it plays a sound at the start of each interval to prompt you to mark whether the behavior happened, and it completes the math as you go. Task analysis, click through the established steps. Yes, no, or no response, a single straightforward selection. As a BCBA, you also get an Add Goal Plus button right next to the search bar in the session, so you can add a goal on the fly. At the end of your session, you finish your documentation, and VGPM makes this quick. As you run the session, you jot short fragments in the quick notes box, what you worked on, reinforcers used, anything the parent reported. When you're done, you generate the AI summary, and it turns those fragments into a clean written narrative. Read it over and edit anything. The AI also cleans up spelling and grammar. Getting your note done right after the session keeps it accurate and keeps billing moving. Two things at the BCBA level. Your note may look different for a distinct service, like supervision or parent coaching. And at the org level, you can turn on supervisor review for all BT notes. They come to you as a task to sign, and you can auto-sign them or sign each one individually. Okay, so for scheduling an appointment, you can schedule from anywhere you see a calendar. Hit new event or new, depending on which page you're on, and you start on info. First, the type. Therapy covers 97153 through 97158, plus the legacy H and T codes that may still exist. Evaluation is 97151 and 97152, plus H or T codes. Supervision scheduled on top of an existing session and tracks onto the supervision report. So use this if you're supervising. Meeting, info, admin, PTO, and UTO are time tracking only. Info just drops a note on the calendar with no time. Pick the location the service happens at, a title if you want, it defaults to the type above, a category if you track those, and a description if you like. Next, the billing screen connects it to money. Pick the service, which defaults to ABA if that's all they get, and that drives your authorization options. Choose the auth, then the billing code. If nothing shows up here, one of two things is true. There's no authorization for that client, or you haven't set a price for that payer in the payer settings. Both are hard stops because everything downstream depends on this. The next screen is scheduling. Recurring gives you never, which is today only. Daily is Monday through Friday. Weekly with selectable days, including weekends. Good for a Monday, Wednesday, Friday type schedule. And monthly, like the first Monday of every month. Set your start and end times and start and end dates. Pick the provider, and note the provider is the person responsible for the documentation and whose signature lands on the note. Add modifiers here, or your payer defaults will populate. Other attendees is not for supervision. It clones the appointment onto a second person's calendar. Both can open and fill the note, but the listed provider is responsible and signed. Use it for ABA supervision, the BCBA must sign, or for RBT training. At the bottom is a quick authorization check on dates and units. A red X is advisory only. It won't block you. Next is the review page. Review lays out everything you selected. If it's right, hit schedule. Supervision is its own event type. You schedule it on top of an existing BT session, and it tracks and outputs onto the supervision report. So your supervision hours are captured automatically instead of reconstructed later. The supervision report lives under reports and flags who is below your supervision threshold. Okay, so that's the clinical core. Build goals in the library, run them through the program book, write strong plans of care, keep your documentation reviewed, and use supervision to scale yourself. For anything platform level, reach out to your admin or owner.